Hello everyone and welcome back to Alex Elliott Golf. This week's tip is all about how you can stop that dreaded move from the top. Now, a lot of you guys at home struggle with that move where the golf club gets close to the golf ball and you have a path that's very out to in. So I'm going to run you through some simple tips in order to eradicate that and hit the ball more from the inside. So a lot of you guys stand on that first tee and make that big over the top move, causing a really big slice out to the right for a right-hander or out to the left for a left-hander. Now, this not only causes you trouble getting in trees, but it's dramatically causing you a loss in distance. So today's tip is all about neutraling up that path, not making it out to in. We're going to try and make sure it's a little bit in to out and get that desired strike and desired draw with the driver. Now, let's firstly, before we talk about how we're going to eradicate that, let's talk about how an over-the-top move is caused. So, for many people, an over-the-top move is caused by being anxious to hit the golf ball, trying to hit the golf ball too hard, but predominantly it's very, very quick hip turn. So, if I was to make a nice backswing, a lot of guys I see and a lot of my clients, they're so anxious to get out of the way of it like they see the pros on TV, they've turned so hard left, the hands can only go out towards the ball. Now, this puts us in a very awkward position and only makes us swing left through the target, creating that out to in path, glancing contact on the golf ball, causing that excessive spin off to the right for a right-hander. So this ring is going to illustrate the path of the golf club through the shot. So for an excessive person with an out to in path and that big dreaded over the top move, this circle will be pointing left of the ball and left of your ball to target line, highlighting that your path is out to in and glancing through the ball. Ideally, we'd have that going straight down, so we'd move it in a nice semicircle on the way back and a nice semicircle on the way through. But what we're going to have to do in order to eradicate this path from out to in and over the top, we're going to have to feel like our path moves this way a little bit. So our path now moves in to out, allows us to attack the ball from the inside and gives us a better chance of making that heavy desired contact. So as we've talked about in the past on my channel, we've talked about what is feel and what is real. So a lot of you guys will say, well, why don't we just kind of feel like our path is just more round and around here? Well, for me, yes, that is correct, but what is feel and what is real are two totally different things. You feeling like your path is straight through and slightly left will probably still be over the top move. So for me, I want us to feel like we're doing the complete and extreme opposite. I want us to feel like we're going to tap that ball very much from the inside, but basically neutraling up that path and not giving us that over the top move. Right, let's talk about how we're going to achieve that move and get our driver hitting it like the pros. So let's run through two ways in order to stop that dreaded move from the top. Let's firstly place our ball to target line down, which is going to be illustrated by our orange line. Now, that is our desired target line, and if ideally we'd have that ball that stays straight down there, but there's not many players in the world that can achieve that. Right, this line is going to illustrate our path line, and as we spoke about before, we want to shift that circle a little bit out to the right and stop it going too far left with that over the top move. So we're going to place our path line, illustrated by our red, slightly right of our ball to target line. Now this is going to give us a great visual as we're stood over the golf ball and we can see that we're going to swing out to the right, not left. So let's demonstrate that with the golf club. We can see now, stood over the golf ball, I want to swing out to the right, attack the ball from the inside and give us a better chance of making solid contact. Let's move on to tip number 2. So this is going to be all to do with in transition as we start that downswing. So if we make a really nice backswing. So we spoke about earlier the cause of many people and many of my clients over the move from the top is excessive movement of the hips opening up to the target, throwing those hands close to the golf ball. So, and a lot of the players like Rory McIlroy, a lot of players on tour, they have a 5% shift and 95% turn into the golf ball. So we're going to make that happen in your game too. So let's make our nice backswing to the top. We have a 95% shift into the golf ball. That's moving slightly left, and you can see my hands are moving into this really nice area here, and that's going to allow me to tack it from the inside and down my desired path line, which is my red line on the floor. So let's run through that again. Let's come into the top, pull that chain, 5% shift, 95% turn through, and again. So into the top, 5% shift, hands coming down, pulling that chain down to the floor, 95% turn through, swinging down my desired red line. And for me, the red line is a great visual. It tells me where I've got to swing, where I don't want to swing. So let's just talk about that improvements and those tips from a different angle. So we spoke about earlier the cause of that over the top move for many of my players, many of my clients, is a massive opening of those hips too early, causing those hands to move closer to the golf ball. So we spoke about this 5% shift and 95% turn in order to drop those hands, feel like you're pulling that chain, bringing it into a nice space and swinging out to the right with that desired in to out path. So let me show you that one more time. This is what we want to see. We want to see pulling that chain, turning. So we're going to shift, pull the chain nicely. So we're going to go one more time. Shift 5%, allows the hands to drop into a nice area here, and allows you to turn out the way. I love the expression pull the chain, because for me, if we had a nice big heavy weight behind us, in order to move that weight with a big heavy weight, we'd have to use our whole body, and that would be pulling it straight down into this space here. It wouldn't be pulling it out to the target because we couldn't use our whole body and we couldn't lift as much as a heavy weight. So we're going to feel like we swing to the top, 5% shift, pull the chain, turn out the way of it, swinging down our desired path and our visual on the floor. So let's give that desired move a go. Let's feel that 5% shift like all the pros and a 95% turn out the way of it. Side path along the floor, practice swing, pull the chain, shift left, turn. Let's give that a go. Now you know how to get rid of that dreaded move from the top and stop that glancing hit and slice out to the right. As always, thank you very much for watching this week's tip on Alex Elliott Golf. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below to keep up to date with all my new content, whether it be tips, course vlogs and the caddy diaries. No one else shows the caddy diaries, guys. Inside look at Challenge Tour and European Tour life. Thank you for watching.